Hello everyone and welcome to PoldarkDish. I'm Marlise.
And I'm Elyse.
And today we're going to be dishing about Poldark Season 5.
Episode 2!
But first, a little recap. Demelza and the kids arrive in London.
Apparently Ross is running an Airbnb.
Because Ned and Kitty are staying with them. Come and knock on my door.
Come and knock on my door.
We've been waiting for you.
We've been waiting for you.
Where the kisses are Poldark and his bar sticks his company too.
The Mahogany King's daughter, Cece, is reading women empowerment books.
But he's pushing for a worm-legged hookup.
He's also trying to lure Wormy into a business operated by slaves.
Does Worm-legged have a problem with that?
No, he's evil.
Ned is hell-bent on trying to find out who tried to screw him.
He thinks it's the Mahogany King.
And the only man that can vouch for him is his secretary.
Valentine.
Valentine!
No, Valentine, James Valentine.
Valentine,
No,
Valentine,
it's a
Valentine.
whole different character, James Valentine. He's much older.
Never mind.
Meanwhile, back at Trenwith, Valentine is playing with his toys. Sam the preacher man thinks that Morwenna might be preggers.
But Drakecake says it be like the Immaculate Conception, brother.
Praise the Lord.
Like the second coming.
It never happened the first time. Oh, damn.
Ross and Ned talk about the honeys they were supposed to marry.
Before they hooked up with their kitchen bitches.
Ross wonders if they made the right choice.
Is he seriously asking that?
Aren't the women in the next
God,
room?
they are
What the
right
hell's the matter with you,
there.
Ross?
Yes.
The boys take their kitchen bitches down to the Vauxhall Pleasure Gardens.
And everybody's giving Kitty the side eye.
Because they think she's a courtesan.
Like that place isn't crawling with hoes.
Ned nearly comes to blows with the mosquito mahogany monarch.
They're like a couple of schoolyard bullies.
Somebody hit someone already.
Yeah, throw a punch for God's sake.
Oh
Oh,
my
if
God.
my wife wasn't
Your kitchen
here,
bitches
boy,
can take
I'd
each
have
other
knocked
down
your
better than
block
that.
off.
What the hell's the matter with you?
You know what? The girls should just settle this.
Ross and Demelza are in bed.
Bow, chicka, wow, wow.
And suddenly a little foot hits Ross right in the ear.
Oh, that's a mood killer.
Ain't nobody getting nothing in Cornwall.
Or London.
Anywhere in England.
After a meeting with Magistrate Mercer to clear Ned's name,
The two besties blow off steam with a fencing session.
Ned is pretty good, and I think Ross is letting him win.
Take your shirt off next time and go better. Elizabeth pops in to help Wormlegged get dressed for his investiture.
So nice that she's still picking out his cha-cha heels for him.
Dr. Eye Candy speaks to the Royal College of Surgeons about insanity.
People can't be held accountable for their actions when they're dealing with half a deck, when they're Looney Tunes, when they're crackers. Ross hears from the missing Valentine.
And Valentine warns that don't piss off Ned's enemies.
But Ross feels obliged. He loves a good challenge.
Oh, we love him when he's challenged. Demelza discovers Cece and GC looking all cozy in the park.
And she agrees not to out the smitten couple for now.
Back in Nampara, Tess wants to try out Demelza's dress.
She would even try on the kitchen bitch's breeches.
I bet she wants to try out Ross, too.
Ooh, she even told Broody that she wants to be mistress of Nampara.
She might have a shot. He likes kitchen bitches.
She's a dirty girl. Morwenna finds Valentine alone on the cliffs.
Valentine tells her that Papa's gone out to find Mama to bring her home.
Maybe Valentine really is George's son.
Nah. Valentine writes a letter vouching for Ned.
Demelza warns Ross about being so public in his support for Ned.
Because he's a wall-punching Irish nutbag.
So Ross prints out some pamphlets to hand out to a select group.
But Demelza decides to go to Kinko's to hand them out all over London.
You get a pamphlet, you get a pamphlet, the dog gets a pamphlet, everybody gets a pamphlet.
Dr. Eye Candy takes the stand in defense of Holy Hadfield.
He gets him acquitted, but not released. Committed to Bedlam. Oops.
If it don't fit, you must acquit. Ross encounters Wormlegged and makes another plea for him to help Geoffrey Charles.
It's what Elizabeth would have wanted.
But Wormlegged gets pissed off and says, "You were nothing to my wife."
Ross wonders why he said, "See what we have brought her to on the night she died."
Wormlegged answers, "We were the death of her.
Your inability to let her go and my jealousy, we killed her.
I take my part of the blame, you take yours."
Ba-bam! Most honest thing Wormlegged has said in 5 seasons.
Truth. Cece and GC are getting closer after she finds him all teary-eyed thinking of his mom.
Caroline wonders, do I have to separate you two?
Caroline, don't you remember what it's like to love a boy that your father doesn't approve of?
It was only season 2, for God's sake.
Don't make me get unwin on you now.
Because he's still single. The maniacal Mahogany Monarch has come up with a crazy-ass way to discredit Ross.
Even George thinks it's crazy. And if George thinks it's crazy, that's some crazy shit.
Just as George is about to sign a pact with the devil, Elizabeth intervenes.
Doesn't she have anywhere to go in the afterlife? She sure pops up a lot.
What miss this blithe spirit?
But she ain't going anywhere, because she joins them for a carriage ride next.
And now another episode of As the Worm Turns.
Elizabeth,
George, I'm still here, dearest.
shall we dine at home tonight? No, wait, we're going to Trenwith. Isn't that great news, my dearest?
Lovely. George,
Elizabeth?
how's my son, Valentine?
Well, he's knocking over all his toys like the kid in The Shining, but at least he isn't writing red rum on the mirrors yet.
Like a true Poldark leggin, worm-leggin, because that is his name.
Elizabeth?
George, I've got a fantastic idea.
Oh, do tell.
Let's have a party at Trenwith.
That's a wonderful idea. Do you know who we should invite?
I have a list.
Excellent. Let me hear it.
Aunt Agatha,
Not ideal.
Freaky Francis,
Awkward.
Huge Charmitage,
Attractive.
my mother,
They're all dead, aren't they?
toe-sucking Witless, Robbie Bobby,
Still alive.
three-ball Adelaide.
Oh, he's great fun with the
Oh,
pocket
he's
pool.
fun at the party.
Yes.
Will Elizabeth's list of passed-on party guests ever end?
This is going to be great.
Tune in next time for As the Worm Turns.
I wonder what I should wear.
The pamphlets are a triumph, and Ned's name has been cleared. Extra! Extra! Just look at the headlines!
And there was much rejoicing.
Except for the crown, they're pissed off and Ross has a price to pay.
Wickham says that Ross has to spy on Ned and Kitty.
Is Wickham still with Lydia?
Not that Wickham.
Does he know Colin Firth?
Doesn't. The maniacal mahogany monarch has an announcement for Cece.
We're going to Cornwall. You will not say no. You will not give me any lip about it. We are going.
Okay.
That was easy. The Poldarks are headed home to Cornwall and they stop at the Red Lion Inn on the way.
Coincidentally, Cece and GC run into each other.
And that's why she was okay with Daddy taking her to Cornwall.
And a near Barney almost occurs between Ned and the Mahogany King.
Again.
Luckily, the kitchen bitches intervene.
Again. Wormleggin arrives back at Trenwith.
He tells Valentine he's brought home a special surprise guest.
And Elizabeth's ghost gets out of the carriage.
And Valentine is all like,
Daddy sees dead people.
get that kid some therapy.
Fireside chat with Drake Cakes and Morwenna.
She looked so natural with Valentine earlier.
He wonders if they're ever going to have kids.
Translation, are we ever gonna get it on? Can't touch this.
Want to touch this?
Don't touch this.
Gonna touch this.
George is running amok in his dressing gown.
Frantically looking for Elizabeth.
Tell him I'm right in front of you, dearest.
Elizabeth, where are you? There you are, Elizabeth. Would you like some port? Hello, Elizabeth. Where did you go? There you are, Elizabeth.
Time to call the Bedlam Bobbies. Playing on the beaches of Cornwall.
Ross and Demelza are blissful.
Demelza says London cannot touch us here.
Until Valentine's body washes up on shore.
Oh. Looks like another guest for George and Elizabeth's spirit soiree.
You can see him next to 3-ball.
Another one bites the dust
Really?
in Cornwall.
Really?
Oh my God.
Everything was going so well.
I want to go to that spirit soiree that George and Elizabeth are going to have. Okay, my favorite scene in the whole episode, maybe the 5 seasons, is when George
And Ross.
and Ross
talk about Elizabeth.
talk about Elizabeth. And when George says, I take my part of the blame, you take yours.
Yeah, wow.
What a piece of honesty that's never come out of George's mouth.
Well, I mean, and he's completely lucid because he's a little
Yes.
through
And
the
that
rest of the
moment,
show.
lucidity,
Yeah,
and
complete
it got
lucid.
out. I just loved that scene.
That was such
I
a
loved
great
it. It was
scene.
it was a bam scene. I loved it. And you know, so my favorite part of the season so far is just the whole the madness of Sir George, I'd like to call it. He's just going crazy. He can't accept the death of Elizabeth, and
Well, and it's funny because
his rocker.
with Ghost Elizabeth, he's quite charming. With Living Elizabeth, he was a little bit of a sausage. But yeah, every time it's like, would you like some port, my dear? And he's smiling
Oh,
and
yes,
everything
indeed.
is dandy. But in real life, it was never that way. So, I mean, you can really see, like,
know.
he's sort of like trying to relive it
And
or
again,
something.
Jack Farthing, we absolutely love you.
Oh
Just
my
such
gosh,
a
he's
brilliant
amazing.
actor.
Speaking of great acting, Kitty McLean, one of our new cast members
Yes.
this season, has such power in her quietness.
Very
when she
poised.
speaks,
Yep.
you know, she did give up her speech.
Women empowerment speech.
Yeah,
on
and that
abolition.
was great because a lot of that was happening at the time. But when she is handling Ned, she just says a word, she has a little touch, and
Yeah.
she really reins him in because that guy's all over the map.
It's a great character, yeah. And
Yeah.
even though she was a slave, you do wonder how they got together because he's a nutbag.
Well, and but I think there was some real connection with them because he was probably a guy who didn't have a lot of control, and then he meets this woman, and suddenly
she reins him in.
yeah,
Yes,
suddenly
it's
life
nice
makes
to see.
sense to him.
It's nice to see, but like you said, he's not going to have a good end. I don't see good things for that guy.
No, probably not.
A little crazy. Even though for the fencing scene with
He'll
him and
never-
Ross, I really thought he was going to take Ross down. And they're supposed to be friends. He's the best ally that he's got,
He'll
Ross
never
is.
be a diplomat.
No.
Ross is very smiley this season. He's just like, and he seems so prudent next to Ned, Vincent Regal,
Yeah.
who's playing, just chewing the scenery and loving this
Yes.
role, which you can see. It's really a fun role. But yeah, Ross is more like, I'm the smiley, quiet,
Yep.
reasonable guy this season,
So
which is
look.
interesting. I mean, they're having their character arcs and they're moving towards the people we are going to discover in the books.
And
10
more
years
problems for the Poldarks. Who could have guessed it, right? More problems.
Yeah,
But what do you think of the fashions? I mean, have they gotten enough into the Regency fashions for you?
There's no such thing. But but I love the scenes at Vauxhall when you see all the people in their
Beautiful.
party.
I wonder where they
gear.
shoot that because the set decoration on that is gorgeous.
Well,
really is beautiful.
and being a history nut and reading all these
Yes.
books, Vauxhall or Romley, the Pleasure Gardens was always someplace that I really wanted to kind of go. And nobody seems to have the money to put this on as a Regency dance event.
Oh,
and
that's
that
a
would
great
be cool.
idea.
So, but I love those scenes because everyone's dressed up. You've got the
Entertainment going around, and the ambiance
music.
is gorgeous.
Yeah. So I enjoy those scenes.
And the costumes. I mean, do you think that that they're doing
costumes are
enough of the
good.
Regency flavor? Are we
Well,
getting enough of it?
yeah. I mean, they are in that period, but I'd like more party clothes. I always want more party
More
clothes.
balls. More balls.
Well, yeah, not 3 balls.
And Andrew
but-
Gower, Bonnie Prince Charlie, is playing the nutbag that's locked away. Well, now he's gone to
That's a
Bedlam.
theme. Yeah, that's a real theme. The insanity is a theme this season. And when we see Hatfield going to Bedlam, all of a sudden Dr. Ennis, who's a little bit of a Debbie Downer this season, saying, oh, I really shouldn't have done that. He'd have been better off dead. So you know what's going to await him in Bedlam.
Oh.
It's not going to be pretty.
I wonder if we're going to see that. I didn't
I
look
don't
into
know.
his IMDb to see how many episodes
I
Andrew
don't
Gower
know.
was going
we
to be.
have to wait and
we
see.
have to look. Anyway.
There are so many things that are surprises this season. And, the other seasons you could be a little smug. You're like, well, I've read the book and I know what's going to
Right,
happen.
it's all
and
a
even
surprise.
then, things would sort of get shuffled around in a
Yep.
really brilliant way. But this season, everything is a
I
surprise.
have to wait and
It's,
see what Debbie Horsfield has in store
it's
for
a
us.
wild ride.
Well, listen, we're looking forward to it as always. That's all we have for you this week. Thank you so much again for tuning in. I'm Marlise.
And I'm Elyse.
And we're the
Poldark
Poldark Dish.
Dish.
Rawr.
Can't watch this.